In Moscow, a wealthy Russian oligarch, Andrei, is forced to sign away control of his fortune to a shadowy figure known only as the Prince. The scene is tense and clinical, showing the ruthless precision with which the Russian mafia operates. After the documents are signed, Andrei believes he has secured safety for himself and his loved ones. But that illusion is shattered instantly. A cold-blooded assassin, representing the prince's brutal enforcement, arrives. In swift, merciless fashion, he executes Andrei and his young son. The murder is carried out without hesitation, signaling that loyalty means nothing once money and power are involved. The violence is shocking but serves as a stark reminder of the stakes. In this world, betrayal equals death. After the brutal Moscow opening, the film shifts to the warm, vibrant streets of Marrakesh. Here we meet Perry Makepeace, a mild-mannered British professor, and his wife Gail, a successful barrister. Their marriage is strained, the atmosphere between them distant and cool. Hoping a holiday will help them reconnect, they immerse themselves in the city's rich culture, but the tension lingers beneath the surface. One evening, while dining at a luxurious Moroccan restaurant, they cross paths with a charismatic Russian named Dima. Loud, flamboyant, and commanding the attention of everyone around him, Dima is impossible to ignore. Unlike the reserved Perry and cautious Gail, he radiates a dangerous charm. He insists they join his table, surrounding them with his entourage of bodyguards and family members. Though wary at first, Perry is drawn to Dima's energy, sensing there's more beneath the bravado. The encounter feels spontaneous, yet there is purpose in Dima's interest. He recognizes something trustworthy in Perry's quiet demeanor, something he may be able to use. Gail remains skeptical, aware of the intimidating presence of Dima's companions, but she reluctantly follows Perry's lead. The following day, Perry and Gail continue their uneasy holiday routine. In an attempt to shake the tension, Perry accepts Dima's invitation to play tennis. The match is lively, with Dima's larger-than-life personality dominating the court. For Perry, it's a surprising shift. He finds himself enjoying Dima's company, even as Gail watches warily from the sidelines. Through this friendly game, an unlikely bond begins to form between the quiet Englishman and the flamboyant Russian. Later, Dima invites Perry and Gail to his daughter's lavish birthday party. The gathering is extravagant, filled with music, dancing, and a clear display of wealth. It is here that Dima finally reveals his true intentions. Taking Perry aside away from the noise of celebration, he confides that he is a money launderer for the Russian mafia. He explains that his life and, more importantly, his family's safety are in grave danger. With rivals closing in, he seeks a way out. Dima entrusts Perry with a small but significant object, a USB drive containing highly incriminating evidence. The files expose massive corruption, linking Russian mobsters to powerful British politicians and financiers. Dima pleads with Perry to deliver the drive to MI6 once he returns home. What began as a chance holiday friendship suddenly becomes a dangerous responsibility, pulling Perry and Gail into an espionage game far beyond anything they imagined. Back in London, Perry struggles with the weight of the responsibility Dima has placed upon him. The USB drive feels like both a burden and a lifeline, holding secrets that could topple powerful men yet also place him and Gail in jeopardy. Torn between dismissing the request and recognizing its seriousness, Perry decides he cannot ignore Dima's plea. Summoning his courage, he approaches British intelligence. This decision brings him face to face with Hector Meredith, a seasoned MI6 officer with sharp instincts and a deep distrust of the political establishment he serves. Hector quickly realizes the magnitude of what Perry is carrying. The USB is packed with financial details, names, and transactions connecting Russian organized crime with influential British politicians and businessmen. Yet, despite the explosive potential of this intelligence, Hector faces immediate resistance. His superior, Billy Matlock, is reluctant to act, fearful of political fallout. Aubrey Longrigg, an influential MP with hidden ties, casts a shadow over every move. Perry, meanwhile, feels increasingly out of his depth, aware he and Gail are entangled in something far larger than they understand. Hector sees promise in the material and urges Perry to maintain contact with Dima. Though nervous, Perry agrees, setting the stage for further involvement. The ordinary professor is now fully enmeshed in a dangerous espionage network, where betrayal lurks at every turn. To test the credibility of Dima's claims, MI6 arranges a carefully staged meeting in France. Perry and Gail, still reeling from their unexpected role in espionage, are escorted into the tense proceedings. They soon reunite with Dima, who is accompanied by his wife and children, their presence reinforcing the desperation behind his request for protection. The meeting unfolds against the backdrop of Paris, with MI6 orchestrating the encounter to appear casual while every detail is monitored. Dima, never one to understate, begins outlining the scale of corruption he has uncovered. He provides evidence that vast sums of money, £5 million per client, with $20 million promised to Longrigg, have been funneled through the mafia's laundering schemes. His information implicates high-level British figures, confirming the USB's explosive revelations. But Dima makes one condition absolutely clear. He and his family must be granted asylum before he hands over the full account details. Without safety, he knows they will be executed like Andrei in Moscow. Hector sees the value and urgency of this offer, but the political resistance back in London looms large, threatening to derail the operation. For Perry and Gail, the reality of Dima's world becomes more tangible. What started as a holiday encounter now feels irreversible, with their loyalty and courage tested under MI6's watchful eye. As the makepieces find themselves pulled deeper into Dima's world, the risks become impossible to ignore. In one tense sequence, Perry and Gail are confronted by Nikki, a henchman loyal to the prince whose menacing presence is impossible to dismiss. Nikki's veiled threats and intimidating demeanor unsettle the couple, a direct reminder that they are now brushing dangerously close to the violent world of the Russian mafia. While Gail remains cautious, Perry attempts to keep calm, but the situation escalates when they witness the mafia's brutality firsthand. In a heated moment, Perry steps forward to protect Dima's family from Nikki's aggression, demonstrating unexpected courage. Though not physically imposing, Perry's willingness to act marks a shift. For Gail, who has long viewed him as passive and reserved, this moment reveals a side of her husband she hadn't fully recognized. The confrontation marks a turning point in their strained relationship. Gail begins to see Perry not as a bystander but as someone willing to stand up against brutality, even at great personal risk. Yet, this small victory carries an ominous undertone. The couple's involvement is no longer theoretical. The danger has become immediate and personal. Their bond may be healing, but their entanglement with Dima and the mafia is tightening. With Dima's cooperation secured, MI6 relocates him, his wife and children to a secluded safe house high in the French Alps. For a brief moment, it appears they may finally have found refuge. The snow-covered isolation, however, offers little comfort. Everyone knows the mafia's reach is long, and the prince will not forgive betrayal. Perry and Gail accompany them, still astonished at how far they've been swept into this dangerous game. The fragile sense of safety is shattered when mafia enforcers, led by a ruthless assassin, infiltrate the safe house under the cover of night. Their silent efficiency echoes the brutal murders seen in the film's opening. Chaos erupts as Dima, his family, and MI6 agents scramble for protection. Amid the panic, Perry shows surprising bravery, helping to shield Dima's children despite the imminent threat. After the attack in the Alps, Hector presses harder for asylum to be granted to Dima and his family. The evidence Dima has provided is enough to expose enormous corruption, yet Hector's efforts face resistance at the highest levels. The influence of Launderer, a powerful politician implicated in Dima's files, ensures that official channels are blocked. Despite the urgency, the Home Office refuses to protect Dima, leaving him and his family in limbo. The decision devastates Dima, who had risked everything in hopes of securing safety for his children. His trust in Perry, a man he once viewed as merely an outsider, now feels like his last fragile lifeline. Perry and Gail, meanwhile, are torn apart by the reality of what they have become involved in. They wanted only a quiet holiday, but now they are carrying the emotional weight of another family's survival. For Hector, the refusal of asylum is more than a professional setback. It is confirmation that the political establishment will protect itself before pursuing justice. The bureaucracy shields Launderer and others tied to the Russian mafia, even if it means sacrificing Dima. This crushing blow leaves the group with dwindling options. Betrayal looms on every side, and the fragile trust between Dima, Perry, and MI6 will soon be tested under immense pressure. With official asylum denied, Hector takes matters into his own hands. Determined not to abandon Dima completely, he arranges an off-the-books extraction. The plan is to use a helicopter to move Dima discreetly to London, away from the mafia's immediate reach. The atmosphere is tense as Dima prepares for departure, clinging to the hope that his cooperation might still save his family's future. Perry and Gail, watching from the sidelines, are deeply unsettled. They have come to care for Dima and his children, yet everything about the operation feels precarious. Hector's instincts confirm their unease. Something about the setup doesn't feel right. The shadow of betrayal, ever present since the Moscow murders, hangs heavy in the air. As Dima climbs aboard the helicopter with one of Hector's agents, the moment seems like a fragile chance at salvation. But seconds after takeoff, horror strikes. The helicopter erupts in a fiery explosion above the snowy Alps, raining debris across the mountainside. The blast kills Dima instantly, along with the MI6 agent accompanying him. The devastation leaves Perry, Gail, and Hector in shock. The mafia has struck a decisive blow, silencing Dima before he can reveal the full scope of his knowledge. The tragedy shows the ruthless power of the prince, leaving only fragments of hope for Dima's family's survival. In the aftermath of Dima's shocking death, the weight of the tragedy falls heavily on those he trusted most. Perry and Gail are shaken, realizing how much Dima had sacrificed to protect his wife and children. Though the mafia succeeded in silencing him, Hector refuses to let Dima's family be abandoned. Against political resistance, he pushes relentlessly until he secures asylum for them, honoring Dima's final wish. The relief on the faces of Dima's wife and children is bittersweet, safe at last, but without the man who gave everything for their survival. For Perry, the experience has been transformative. What began as a holiday gone awry became a moral test of courage and loyalty. Dima had entrusted him not just with a USB drive, but with faith that someone outside the corrupt system would do the right thing. Perry, once hesitant, has proven himself willing to stand up when it mattered. Before parting ways, Perry presents Hector with the pistol Dima had carried. At first glance it seems a simple gesture, a token of remembrance. But inside the weapon lies a hidden secret, a tiny rolled piece of paper containing the names and account numbers of the corrupt officials tied to the mafia. Dima's fight continues beyond his death, ensuring that the truth cannot be buried. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more in-depth recaps and reviews. Until next time, stay curious, and keep exploring the hidden truths in every story.